Bye. Can't wait for this showdown. I got to get home, put on my Lowry jersey, stand 2 feet in front of the television, just pace all night.
Think he's live streaming our show right
No,
now?
I'm not hungry. I'm locked in right now.
Have a bowl of Cheerios.
That's right. Honey Nut Cheerios. Oh, man, I'm going to have so many bowls of Honey Nut Cheerios tonight. Here's our predictions for the Bucks Raptors. I'm the only one taking Canada. Raptors in 6. Everyone else? Well, we got a couple Brandon Jennings. Bucks in 6. Taz says Bucks in 7. Let's hear your predictions.
Huge
Jump
fan.
on Twitter. Hashtag the starters. Speaking of hashtag the starters, we asked you what's the funniest NBA slap that you can remember. What do you got, Trey?
Oh, the people hit us with some great slaps. Here's DeMarcus Cousins and Joel Embiid pulling a Reggie Evans and Grant Hill. They didn't get ejected. You can do 3 slaps in the regular season. Also great, Lance Stevenson slapping himself in the face. A self-face slap, always good, but the best answer, no doubt, came from Sam, who sent in John Collins.
Oh, yeah.
Funniest moment of the year.
Yeah.
Apologies to that little guy.
Nice. Good suggestion there. All right, Lily, VSP.
Yeah, going to Oakland, of course. And I've got to give a shout out to my wife who called this while we were watching the game.
Wow.
Yeah, the ball was fizzing around, she said. There was a little bit of a pump fake party. And with the Klay Thompson swish bomb, she said, that's a very solid play. She's right. She's married very well. That's what I call a very solid play.
She's better at it than you are, I'll tell you that. All right, guys, enjoy the game tonight. We'll see you tomorrow at 6:30.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, you know what they say, the conference finals don't start until the Eastern finals start.
Embrace the night, people.
The beasts of the East get ready to meet, including a guy who's been exactly that and then some. As much, if not more, than Messiah and company could have asked for in TO. Now the Raptors looking to try and steal a Game 1 in Milwaukee. But not the only star. There's that guy, that in quotes man, because he's been more than that. The Greek Freak. He's even challenged himself to be better and work harder, yet somehow has already been the most valuable player in the league. That's called being a star. These two guys would know. I just get to hang out with them. Welcome to Game Time. Get you ready. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final. We've got a ton to break down. Looking ahead to Bucks and Raptors, Casey Stern, and Detroit basketball. Zeke, G. Hill, Hall of Famers there. I'll just kind of lead you down the hall over here. This is going to be exciting, though, because not the sexy pick, right? Everybody was on Boston, on Philly. 2 best teams in the East get a chance to meet.
You know, earlier when we started, these are the 2 teams that I picked that would be in the Eastern Conference Finals. And the reason why I picked both of them is because they had such unique players in terms of Giannis and also in terms of Kawhi. And we was just talking to Roz in the back, and Roz said she spent a lot of time in Toronto. And, you know, we had forgot just how great Kawhi really was because he had been off the scene for a while, and how great a basketball player he really is, not only on the offensive side, but the defensive side, and just willing to step up and take the challenges. So it's good to see him back, and it's good to see Giannis rise.
You know who didn't forget, G? That was Kawhi. Because the confidence, it was there. And even though he took a lot of shots and nearly broke a record with what we saw in that Game 7, the shot was part of an efficient and dominant fourth quarter. As we look again, the arc of just finding a way to get it up and then reminding me of a former teammate of yours, G, and Allen Houston, as I watch it bounce and bounce and bounce and down. The Bucks, they watched as well and paid attention.
It was crazy. That was a heck of a bounce, man. From a great player. Kawhi's playing, some great basketball right now that I ever seen. So, to see that, shot go in, we got to be a little bit more locked in.
He's a great player. He can score at all 3 levels. One of the best 2-way players in the game right now. So he can hurt you in a multitude of ways. It's just about making it tough for him, making him uncomfortable every play down the floor, and trying to limit really his touches on the ball.
Team defense, that's the most important thing. It's not one individual guy. It's not anyone that can do it by themselves. We got to continue to communicate as a team, rely on everybody to do their job, and do very well at it. Guys in help side D, and just make it tough. You're not going to stop him like you said, but you can try to slow him down as much as possible.
You can only hope to contain them because there are 2 of the best handful of players in this game That's only a handful. That's 5. Right here in Kawhi and Giannis, they do different things. We'll talk about their impact here in this series and what they've done so far. And, G, let's start with Kawhi. And you had to defend players like this where they're going to try and succeed many times getting to that spot. You're trying to make it as difficult and uncomfortable as you can. What's the idea of what you try and do to slow Kawhi down when he's got the ball offensively?
Well, that's a tough question, and that's a tough assignment for whoever is called to defend him. Chris Middleton has guarded him well this year, kept him at 41% from the field during the regular season, although Kawhi has taken his game now to another level in the postseason. But, I think you have to try to make him uncomfortable. Kawhi plays at a nice, easygoing pace. He never gets or seems to get rattled. He gets to his spots. I would try to pressure him a little bit more. I felt like Philly played off of him, and he could kind of just dictate and determine what and where he wanted to do or where he wanted to go. I'd imagine that, Milwaukee has more bodies. They have a little bit more experienced bodies. Middleton has done a good job. You got to get in his space, make him uncomfortable. And as they said in that film, in that segment there, it's a team effort. You got to have guys that are willing to help, guys that'll be able to, force him into certain positions on the floor. He's going to do a lot of ISO one-on-one basketball, a lot of hero basketball. Did it the entire series against Philly. Milwaukee, though, they're going to throw different bodies at him, and they have some long, experienced defenders who I think will give him a different look. Ben Simmons, young player, not really called upon to be a defender, was asked to guard him, which was obviously a little bit unfair. And Kawhi obviously got the best of that matchup in that last series.
Grant, you talk about it in Zeke. The difference, and look, that was in the style of game the Raptors play. Kawhi needed to do that. He had to kind of take the team on his back a bit. What Brad Stevens talked about a lot last series, and I think he's right, the three-pointers are what crush you. Giannis is going to get his points. But what he does is he's so efficient with when he creates that attention, finding that open man. They have taken and hit the second most amount of threes to the Rockets in both categories in all of basketball, and he's the biggest reason why, and we've seen that in the playoffs.
He's the biggest reason why, and, it's an old school way of playing with a new school twist. And you always hear old school players say, you want to play inside out. You want to put the ball inside, and then you want to kick it out to three-point shooters. And the way we started putting the ball inside, we would use a post player. We would take the ball from the outside. We throw it inside to the post player. Then he would get double teamed, and then he would kick it out. But what Giannis does is he puts it on the floor, and he drives the ball to the paint, sucking the defense in. And once the ball penetrates the paint, then he kicks it out. So it's still same rules still apply where the Bucks are playing inside out as opposed to outside in. But Giannis starts out from the point. He gets to the basket, he either dunks it or he draws to, and he kicks it to those three-point shooters who are spotted up on the perimeter.
And Isiah, as a shooter, that's an easier shot coming from a pass from, in the paint as opposed to swinging around the perimeter.
Yeah, and it's a much easier shot, as you said, coming from the paint. And the reason why it's easier, Grant, is because when it's coming from around the perimeter, as a defender, I haven't had to move. So your defense is only as strong as your weak side can help, right? And if your weak side can help and recover, then your defense is solid. So we see a lot of challenged three-point shots being taken because the ball hasn't really penetrated the paint, drawing weak side help, so consequently they can't recover. But what Giannis does when he gets into the paint, if you don't come and help, then he's dunking on his man. So,
you know what the greatest part is, too? And I say this, of course, to a stalwart on the defensive end. And these may be the two best defensive players in the league.
Yeah.
In addition to the great matchup of all the offensive things and the leadership, they may be 1 and 2 in some order as the best defenders in the game. A guy who knows a thing or two about blocking shots and scoring points. And speaking of Spurs relations, we know that with Kawhi and Bud, but how about